Hi, our next stage would be attaching our canvases together, and for this you will need it. It's the front of your morning coat, and put the right side down with the wrong side up. And the reason you need it, so you know which canvas and what way to apply. So you've got your hair canvas goes over like this, and the next stage will be, so you can see that. The next stage would be applying your chest canvas, so in that order, and then breast canvas, like that. So whenever you are touching your canvases, you will see that area. So it's very important because you've got two different panels of the front, like right side and the left side. Therefore, you need to make sure you're applying the right way your canvases. So when you find out that actually that's how you want to your canvases, you need to pin it together and then move your front panel. Okay, so now your canvases lay in the right way. So just going to make sure my seam allowance, the shoulders is matching together and very precise here. See the shoulders goes, and my armhole, neckline, so all matching together. I'm going to pin that so it's in the place. I think that's going to slightly move out way. That's it. So it's very important I have a gap between my break lines. Okay. So now you need it, your tucking thread, which is, you got it there. Okay. And single thread, you need to put in the needle. I'm going to show you that. So you've got a thread with the needle, you need to use a single thread for that. Because you can't see properly, so I'm going to swap my thread to the red one, so you can see exactly what I'm doing. But yes, please do use your tucking thread for this. Make sure you have your thimble. And then the first thing you're going to do, we're going to attach your canvases together so they don't move. Made a knot on your thread, and with the big stitchings, they're actually quite big stitchings, and they're going to stay permanently in your canvas, so we don't need them to be too tight, like that. Go to your seam allowance here, and we're going to stop. So I'm going to stop here. Going to place another tucking line along there. Again, this is purely to hold the canvases together, nothing else. Oops. There we go. And the third line would be closer to your armhole. But again, make sure you avoid your seam allowance. Go through all the layers and the big stitchings. Do not make them too tight. That's one quite important. And do not make them tight. Okay. So now they're together. So on that side, you can see that side as well. Now, the important things we're going to do, it's, and every tailor will do it differently. That's how I do it, and it works for me. So I'm going to snip my shoulder. So going to open my canvases and the hair canvas. So just divide it into your shoulder. So I'm going to have a snip here. So it's quite big snip. So you've got 5 centimeter seam allowance as well. So you go through your seam allowance and go down. So it's about 7 centimeters snip on your shoulder. Then we fold that side, and because we already have snipped here, so now this shoulder we're going to divide in two, and we're going to snip on another side so it doesn't go in the same place. And we're going to do that. Snip here. Again, because 5 centimeters seam allowance, about 5-7 centimeters the length. You don't need to do anything with the breast fold. We do exactly the same along your armhole. So we open the armhole here, and we're going to snip into that. Because we have snipped your canvas away from the armhole, so the first snip will be closer to your shoulder. So we're snipping in this area. So we're going to snip in here. But got 2.5 seam allowance, therefore we don't need as deep snip as the shoulders. So about 5 centimeters, 4-5 centimeters there. So that's snip. And then we do exactly the same, but in different place. So away from the shoulder. So we're going to snip chest canvas. So yep, we leave the breast fold because they've got stretchiness in there itself. The reason we're doing that, so when it's attached to the shoulder, it creates the flexibility as well. And so it doesn't control the fabric, because the owl wool is so nice, so soft, and sometimes it can stretch as well. So if it's going to be controlled by the canvases, it will just create a bubble and will just allow the flexibility that the wool actually have. And it's exactly the same around your, if you look around your armhole. So it's because it's going to be round, it creates that nice stretchiness there as well. Yeah. So the next step would be is we're going to pat stitch that area. I'm going to use red thread, but I will advise you to use your tacking thread. So just white tacking thread you have here, that one. Single thread again, and it's going to be staying permanently into your canvases. I'm going to use the pat stitching, quite big, so stay away from your seam allowance. You don't need to do it in the seam allowance, as we're going to trim your seam allowance later. So it's away from the seam allowance, and so it's quite big padding stitch. Use your thimble, make sure it's don't make it too tight, otherwise it would be obvious and it would not look right. So yeah, so all your tension on your hand stitching, it should be quite soft. Yeah, big steps. Again, different tailors do different, and by doing your the pat stitching closer is make it more solid. And therefore, so if you can see that is I'm going to stop before my 5 centimeter seam allowance. I'm not going into the seam allowance because again I'm going to trim that seam allowance later. So now come back. Yeah, so I was talking about the closer your pat stitching, the more solid you can become. So the more open pat stitching, more softer tailoring will be. So it depends what you would like to achieve and what is it for as well. So I use quite soft because it's we've got nice fabric, nice wool. Okay. Continue doing that to all. And make it too tight. Okay. Can you see that? Can you see the pattern appears as well? Together. Make sure it's all your canvases laying flat on the table. It's quite important because again it can create some tension. There we go. I'm just going to have a last secure my, going to just secure my stitching. Just relax stitch. So there we go. We have just left it seam allowance around the armhole. There's a loop on the other side. Okay, well done everyone. See you next time.